Hello guys and welcome back to some more World of Tanks. I'm going to be showing you a few replays in the background while I do a review. If I finish my review, I'll try to get to some of the gameplay. But yeah, just a general review of the modern armor first strike. Was it update that we've just got? I've had a week or just over a week to gauge what I think of the whole update, and in general, disappointing. But I don't know. I suppose it shouldn't really be disappointing the way the war game has been going recently. But let's just go through it. Some of the positives, right? Okay, we got some new tanks. Awesome, right? You know, always good to have some new tanks. And more importantly, some new maps, which is great. It's great to have some new maps. Is it like 3 or 4 new big maps to go with the modern armor? And they generally look nice and got lots of different ways you can play them, which is great. Loving that. And you got some extra consumables, some extra equipment for tanks. All nice to have these extra things in the game, right? But let's get down to maybe the maps straight away. The only issue with the new maps is maybe capture the flag is still like the dominant game setting for it, and honestly, don't think it suits these massive maps, to be honest. The thing is, obviously, if you worked the whole 15 tanks on your team worked as a team, probably wouldn't be such a big problem, but people just don't play as a team. And the problem is your team can smash the enemy team only for like 1 or 2 of their tanks to survive and get on your cap before you can get on theirs, and it's pretty much game over, right? Because it takes so long to get back. So I've had that quite a few times. Quite irritating when that happens. So I think they should maybe mix up the game modes a little bit more on that. Less about capturing the flag, maybe. Because you still get these maps in the World War II tanks as well, and obviously in general there's a lot more slower tanks in the World War II than there is in the Cold War, so it's even harder to get back. And there's True Vision's come in for Cold War. I think it's fairly suits the game. It's okay. I think the main issue is it doesn't work quite as well as in other games. Like War Thunder, it works well, but not quite as well in World of Tanks, where you've got lots of hit points, right? So you can get hit, but get out of, just. It doesn't really matter too much if you get hit once, right? You can take several hits before you're in trouble. And I think that I do think that changes up how True Vision works a little bit. I don't think it's. I don't mind. Like I said, it's okay for Cold War, but it definitely wouldn't suit. It definitely wouldn't suit the old. Second World War, that's for sure, and I'm hoping that they never get around to it, right? So all right, let's get to, obviously Cold War is not great at the moment because there's only 2 lines to go down, and you're seeing the same tanks, and it's just a little bit samey, and the problem, the other problem in Cold War is not just the fact that the tanks are. I mean, the tanks in Cold War are just don't interest me as much because they're very good at everything. They're all pretty fast. They've all got pretty good gun accuracy. They've all got pretty good alpha. They all got pretty good armor. I like the Second World War tanks because they're all a bit quirky. They've all got their problems and strengths, and I just honestly think it's not quite as interesting as the Second World War tanks. But that's just my personal opinion. I'm sure there's lots of people who are like, yes, finally modern tanks, right? That's fine. I mean, like I said, great to have some new tanks in the game anyway. But let's get on to the new consumables, right? Okay, so we've got two new consumables. Smokescreen, which smokescreen and hole patch. So smokescreen is obvious. Throw up smoke to cover your retreat and things like that. But I just don't. Honestly, I just don't think. I think that should be an extra slot for smokescreen for Cold War. Maybe not for World War II game, but for Cold War, I think it should be just on everybody's tank, but you can only use it a certain amount of times per game. Simply because I would not replace anything that I'm currently using on my tanks for smokescreen. Yes, it's useful in some situations, but just not enough to replace my other equipment. You need a repair kit because your gun's going to get damaged, your track's going to get damaged, your engine's going to get damaged. That's one of these is going to get damaged at some point, and you're going to need a repair kit. Even if you have all the repair crew skills, you're still going to be. It doesn't fully fix your gun or engines, so you want a repair kit, right? You want a first aid kit because you don't want your gunners taken out or your driver, because that's going to reduce, your speed, your accuracy. You definitely don't want to be doing that because it can happen. It can happen straight away. You could be zooming along and trying to dodge fire and you get hit once and it's the beginning of the match and you've got your gunner out already and your reload is twice as long and you're just not going to have a good game really in that situation. So you need a first aid kit. Now, if you haven't got many crew skills, then fire extinguisher is extremely useful, right? To put out fires. You don't want to get set on fire. It's going to damage everything, right? So yeah, you don't really want to place that with smokescreen until you got some preventative maintenance and brothers in arms or whatever you. And food just increases everything passively, and when you engage it, it's just really good, and you don't want. Again, I don't want to replace that with smoke. If you're in a platoon and you're well communicated, you can have someone with a smoke screen, and it'd be very useful. But I just individually, when you're playing on your own, I just don't see why you would replace anything with smoke screen. But I'm glad it's there. It's an additional thing. I don't want to really poo-poo the fact there's something else in the game for us to choose from. I just don't see the relevance in it. It's a bit more relevant in Cold War, of course, but not enough. And then we've got the hole patch. Single-use hole patch, absolutely complete waste of time. I would not put that on anything because it only gives you a tiny bit of health back. It really does. It's pretty minuscule, right? You don't want to be using that really at all. And even the old and even multiple use one, it only is going to be really useful to you if you've obviously been hit very early on in the game for quite a lot of your health, and you're constantly, as soon as it's recharged, you're engaging it again and engaging it again every time it's been recharged. And then it'll be useful, I think, because it could mean that, make the difference between being a two shot and a one shot at times from being killed. But again, I just think it doesn't give you enough to really warrant dropping anything. I mean, what are the chances of you being damaged so early on and having the opportunity to engage it every time it's recharged? Right, it's just probably not going to happen. I I wouldn't ever go, oh, if someone's using it, I'll be like, oh, what a noob. It's what it's rechargeable when it's still warranted. I think I wouldn't say it's a terrible idea. I just don't think it's as good as anything else. You want to replace anything else with it, and that's the new consumables. They're okay, but just not good enough to compete with the other consumables you have available already, which is a shame. It is a shame, but the whole patch one, I don't think they should buff it because it could be very OP if they buffed it more than it currently is. But at the same time, it's not particularly all that good as it is either. I don't know. I don't know how to balance that really. And like I said, smokescreen, not really gonna use that. I don't think. It's just like I said, I personally think it should be on every every Cold War tank. It just has maybe a longer reload or whatever. Can only be used a certain amount of times in the game. That kind of thing. Else, I'm just not going to use it at all. Now you got the equipment, extra equipment, basically for traverse speed and just speed basically. 2 speed boosts, which unfortunately you would presume they'll be in the game to help the super heavies be more relevant because they're being somewhat neglected at the moment. Just speed is of the essence at the moment in the game. And like the mouses and Type 5s and Type 4s and stuff, they're just, not very competitive at the moment. So you think, especially with these massive maps, I dread to go out of my mouse at the moment in case I get one of the modern maps because I would just not, don't know if I'd bother playing if I got one of those maps. And unfortunately, these speed boosts don't really help the super heavies because they're a percentage boost, and because the mouse and stuff goes so slow, it's a tiny fraction of extra speed to those tanks. It's pretty much pointless to install those on the super heavies, which I'm presuming there were 4. And unfortunately, you can add them to light tanks and make them super fast. And just so much more annoying to play against. And in the right hands, in the right player's hands, these equipment boosts for light tanks are absolutely OP, right? Making them more nippy, more harder to easier to get. They can be get around you easier, traverse you easier. It's not good. They need to do something about that. So already we've got numerous problems, right? With all of these things, pretty much, or downers, or just not great. Which is a real shame. Real shame. All these things could have been a lot better than they actually are, and I'm guessing they will adjust them and everything will be a bit better in the future. But unfortunately, this is what we've got right now, and this is what I'm talking about. So there we go. Um, like I said, it's just, and the main problems I'm having with this is, oh yeah, the main problems I'm having with this is, they didn't solve any of the glitches and problems they had before from 6.0. They still haven't fixed any of those, and yet they start introducing more stuff to the game. We've got a few more extra bugs and glitches. Um, and the old ones still haven't been fixed. One of the major ones that really annoys and bugs me is when your gun barrel points up when you're close to a building or a rock, it just quickly zooms up into the air. You're playing the game properly, guys. You're playing professionally. You're hiding behind a building. You're poking out, shooting someone who's out in the open, and then you're pulling back to get behind cover. You hide behind a building, your gun barrels go zooming up into the air, you go around the corner, gun is in the air, the enemy who's out in the open is hitting you and penning you, because you're taking time to move your gun barrel down to shoot at him. So even though he's playing like a bit of an idiot, he's actually got an advantage because your gun barrel keeps moving up and down, and you're losing your spot or where you're aiming. It's very annoying, and I'm no idea why they have not fixed that. There's and then when we got one of the new bugs we got is where you ping the map and it just constantly pings that map for the rest of the game unless someone else pings somewhere else, and then that does it for the. You can see it in the game right now. Which is very annoying. Yeah, it should stay on the map for a little while, but not for the whole time or at least till someone else pings the map. So yeah, that's a bug they've introduced, and a bug they haven't fixed from the last time they did a big update. And now 3D commanders. Yeah, look, I admit that it's not. Some people might really like this. And good for them. I personally hate them, mainly because because they look pretty bad. The graphics on some of them are pretty bad. I'm playing on a PS5 now. I know there's people playing on PS4s and Xbox Ones, but there still should be better graphics. Even on the last gen, they look pretty bad. So again, I'm not sure why they introduced that, other than maybe monetizing it all and look how much money you can spend on these cool commanders. And B, they're smack bang in the middle of the map. When you finish and your 3 tanks come up, I want to see the tanks. I'm playing a tank game. I like tanks. I'm playing this game to play tanks. If I wanted to play an FPS, I'll play Call of Duty. And if, at the end of the game, my character came up, fine. But I'm playing a tank game. I want to see my tanks. I want to see the other tanks who did really well, and see what the tanks they're using. But now all you're getting is a 3D commander smack bang in the middle of the screen, obscuring. Even if you've just got one person with it, he's obscuring basically 2 tanks with that character standing there. And who are these characters? I haven't been using them. I don't use them for anything. I am playing a tank. I want to see the tank I've been using. So pet peeve for me. I really dislike them. And yeah, do not like their inclusion, really. If they stuck their head out of a hatch or something at the end of the match, fine, I guess. Because it doesn't really distract from the actual tank, I suppose. But I don't know why they chose it to do it this way. Quite annoying. So that's kind of my review of the Cold War. era update, and the new season pass. Pretty bad, guys. Um, a tier 6 and a tier 8 variant of a tank we've just got. We got the Hunter Centurion, now we've got the Atomic Centurion, and a tier 6, Sherman variant, yay. Not particularly interested in that. And obviously, now for the season pass, we're getting stuff for both Cold War and Second World War. I'm not really playing this Cold War at the moment. I really do not need any of the stuff they're giving away for the Cold War era. They're giving away a couple of the big rewards. One of the big rewards at the end of getting to level 100 is the Atomic Centurion, like I said, and yay, a 3D commander, which I will not be using. It looks terrible. I just, yeah, and I guess I can understand why they're using, like, that was a good game. That was a very good game. But I've not used the Iron Rain for a very long time. I can understand why they're trying to give you free stuff for the Cold War to encourage people play the Cold War, I guess. But we don't get a tank to play in the Cold War as a reward. I don't know why that's a thing. That seems a bit silly. That would be a great idea, I would have thought, to encourage people to play. But never mind. There we go. Wargaming giving us very, very underwhelming season pass this time. And not so great big update as well. So yeah, not that impressed. Right, okay, let's try to get back. Let's try to be a bit more positive, right? We're playing one of the new maps. So as you can see, we're definitely going to be bottom tier, right? Because I think tier 9s and tier 10s should only see these maps unless you're being dragged up by being bottom tier or whatever, which is exactly what we are here. And I don't know what this Type 59-2 is doing. He's just absolutely gunning it straight towards our team. I put a couple of shots into him already. I'm fully loaded. So we're gonna don't know what he's doing there, but we're gonna go for him. He's overreached here for sure. I'm gonna probably take a hit here, but that's fine. Very unfortunate. Could have avoided that, but yeah, got stuck on the bridge there. So we're ducking down again. Yeah, I don't know what that guy's doing. He does something even more crazy now. He pushes down this hill. Looks like he's trying to get another hit on me. Not going to happen. Take him out. So good exchange there. We lost more health than I would liked of, but we took him for all of his health, I think. So that's not too bad. Not too bad. Definitely a good exchange. But we just have to be careful now with our remaining hit points, right? Which is good. Yeah, again, I don't like the look of this tank at all. It's pretty terrible. Got it free, and it just happens to be a very good tank. As are most of the new recent premium tanks tend to be a little bit overpowered. So yeah, like I said, this map is okay for this particular tier 8, right? Because it's a light tank. We can get around pretty quickly. People are still learning this map, guys. I must admit, you can kind of tell people are so used to corridor maps that they still treat this particular map as a corridor map by looks of things. Unfortunately, I don't know how I bounced that shot. Very bad aim for me. and because we're a light tank, so we can get about this map anyway, which is great. But I feel very sorry for anybody in a VK or something. Oh, but like I said, yeah, people still treat this kind of as a bit of a corridor map, really. Um, when spawning where we've spawned, they seem to go up to the north or down south very much, or in the middle. Even though there's multiple ways to play the map, people are still tending to play it a bit more of a corridory kind of map. I think it'll take some while before people start learning how to play these maps a little bit differently. Um, but there we go. I think people are worried about camping at the moment. They're saying about they're hearing people saying about bringing artillery back into Cold War, and I really hope they don't. I don't think artillery is going to solve anything, to be honest, because you definitely can't use true vision for artillery, right? Because that would be OP as hell, being able to see every target. Um, so I'm guessing they would. So I'm guessing they have to very much consider everything they're going to do if they're considering artillery, right? I I hate artillery. I really do. I don't think they should introduce it at all. I mean, they probably will, right? They want people to spend more money. They want to, so they're going to introduce more vehicles when they've run out of tanks to go down. They probably will introduce it. I was under no illusion that it would not be artillery free forever. Um, and I don't think, like I said, I mean, some people think it stops camping. Personally don't. Because if I could sit behind this, if there's 3 artillery in the game or whatever, and this particular building was safe from artillery, why would I push towards the enemy if that maybe see the gun go barrel going up, still there, still a problem. Why would I leave this safety net when I could still probably shoot people, not as much as if I push forward, but I'm safe from getting pooed on by artillery, so why would I move away from this and play more aggressively? I think if anything, it encourages camping, because there are areas in the map that are fairly safe from artillery. So why would you play aggressively if you're going to sit there, actually hit some enemy tanks, but be safe from artillery? And like I said, I often see people camping at the back because they're not getting spotted. They can fire, not get spotted, not get hit by artillery. So why go anywhere? Why push out? Why? Yeah. But yeah, they go. Right, again, Nomad. I've not played this in a very, very long time. Definitely not since 6.0, that's for sure. So it was nice to go out in this thing again. I mean, when fully loaded, this thing is absolutely devastating. If you pen your shots, of course. But it's got an insanely long reload, which isn't fun. You can be caught out. You can be pretty much obliterated pretty quickly if you're unlucky to get caught out. Unfortunately, didn't pen that last one. That last shot that could have killed him. But we're playing pretty safe here. There is our enemy artillery, but there's only one in the game, so we don't have to worry too much. In my personal opinion, I try to ignore artillery, because if you play too arty safe, you not playing aggressively enough, you're going to miss out on um, on probably on a win. To be honest, if you're not playing aggressively enough, you're not probably not going to get a win, right? You need to push when you need to push, and you need to sit still when you need to sit still. And if you look on the screen and there's artillery, and you're just really worry too much about getting done in by artillery, then you're not going to have a good time, and you probably might not get much done. So I try to just ignore artillery. I play arty safe per se when I can, but I don't want the artillery to dictate how I play my game. And that's how I think most people should play it. But obviously, people do worry about getting hit on by artillery a lot, and that's why they maybe camp and stuff like that. But yeah, Nomad, right? Quite an old premium tank now, but it's still very good. Its frontal armor's not terrible either, which makes a change from your normal French tank, which usually has no armor. I mean, it's not amazing armor for a heavy tank, right? But it's decent. We're trying to avoid the artillery. It hits that rock there. We know he's reloading, but we've only got one shell, but luckily someone hits him, so he's on lower health. I don't know what he's doing there. Obviously, maybe loaded already, but I presume he wasn't loaded already. It didn't seem like he had long enough time to reload there. So yeah, we're on Fisherman's Bay, and again, we're in a very tricky situation. To get to the enemies, we have to push across the open. Not a good idea, but the only reason I'm doing this is because there's only 3 tanks left. And quite honestly, we've got quite a few allies here. There's a very good chance I'm going to take some hits, but I'm not going to be taking enough to finish me off. Missed that shot. Track him. We finish him off. We've got 2 shells left. And I do a reload. Probably not a good idea, right? But that is the problem with this thing. It's got such a long reload. Do you reload? Do you leave the 2 in? And then we see that the medium is actually in the middle of the town. That TD looks like he's going to be dead in a matter of seconds. So we kind of leave him and go towards, see if we can find up the medium. We're almost reloaded. We wait. He gets behind cover. Again, we kind of ignore him because we're looking for that medium. Because everyone else is going for him. And then the medium turns up. And he's almost full health. This gives us some opportunity to get some real damage in before the end of the game. He kind of ducks behind cover, unfortunately. And the TD is surprisingly still alive. But I'm guessing not for long. We're going to keep the 2 in the chamber. Unfortunately, yeah, they both get killed. But, yeah, decent score, right? And not too many kills, but 4 kills isn't too bad. And we get about 5,000 combined. And that is actually a mastery. People are not having great games in this at the moment. But it's a very good tank. Anyway, see you soon, guys. Bye.